Wrong one. Let's try this again. There we go. This is my first time. Hey everybody, welcome. Tonight I'm going to dive back into more material design and XAML stuff. I unfortunately have had a crazy week and have not had a chance to get back to it since my last stream. So was planning on picking up where we left off. There's a few issues and pull requests and questions, and was going to just see how much of that I can dive through and get taken care of tonight. So for those people who didn't tune in last time, and I apologize, I've realized I forgot to post the video to YouTube, so I need to get that up soon. Last time where we left off is we had been cleaning up the application to use .NET Core 3.1. So the expectation is right now the library compiles for both .NET Core and .NET Framework, but ultimately we want to move the .NET Core support to 3.1 since that's the LTS version of .NET Core. My intention with this library is to support any .NET Core version that Microsoft still supports. It's worth knowing that these ones tend to iterate a little bit faster than .NET Framework. .NET Framework's tied to the operating system that you're hooked up to, so there is a little bit of a slower rev cycle with that, whereas .NET Core revs much quicker. So there will probably be a lot of updates where those get revved, so just be aware and prepared for that if you're building WPF against .NET Core. So with that, let's dive back in. So the only thing I've managed to do so far is that button. There we go. The only thing I've managed to do so far is to go through and I rebased the .NET Core 3.1 branch on top of master because there was a couple fixes and whatnot that got put in. There's some breaking changes coming to the pack icon with some of the material design stuff. There's some members that are just now missing. So I did also clean up a little bit of the pack icon stuff so that they're sorted in a reasonable order. It made for a miserable merge at first, but then it's hopefully going to clean things up going forward. I still want to fix. I don't like that I don't see my flashy cursor right there. I want that to get cleaned up. Oh, interesting. Did they change the XAML? Looks like they changed the XAML icon. Interesting. Interesting. Let's look at that real quick. That actually surprises me. So that is the show me the XAML control that's doing that, and we've got specifically the XAML display control inside of the show me the XAML library, which is mine. So if there's a bug in it, we just go fix it. But let's see here. So pack icon, kind XAML. Ooh, and I think this is the one that's dropping. Let's double check that real quick. So there was a comment. Normally people don't get a chance to comment on these pull requests. Yeah, XAML being dropped. So this pull request here, when you see this Azure Pipelines thing on here, this means this is an auto-generated PR. I've got a pipeline that runs every night. It goes and checks the material design icons, updates them to all the latest and greatest stuff. So XAML is gone. Oh, no, XAML isn't gone. It's just they've changed it. Yeah, so this drops, but it's still there. Okay. So, and it's kind of hard to tell with some of these changes because this pull request gets rebranched every time, or I should say gets force pushed over the top. So this comment came in 2 days ago, and then there was an update 21 hours ago. So be aware, sometimes these icon changes, I generally just rev them pretty quick. I give them a cursory glance to see if there's any deletions because I try to track those in the release notes. But other than that, I'm always just taking the latest and greatest icons. I don't see a big reason to stay behind. It does mean that with each update, it's not really feasible for me to keep track of which icons have visual changes to them. So unfortunately, those ones are going to be trial and error. It would be nice if somebody wanted to write some sort of magical diffing tool or clean up that generated some of this so that it was easier to look at. But this is like this says a large diff. So buyer beware. We could certainly clean it up to get it into a much more maintainable state. And I might get around to that just so I can look at it. But diffing path data, it's always hard to tell when there's just a slight tweak to things. So be aware that is coming, but that should be fine. So more importantly, the app fires up and runs. So that was sort of step one to get cleaned up and in and done. I really want to write some UI tests that at least just kind of walk through this thing and validate that everything works, right? So I think that's probably pretty good. I'm just trying to check and see what all the changes were, because most of this stuff was all around CS Proj changes and copyrights and all of that jazz. So most of it isn't too bad. A lot of it was just updating packet and grabbing the latest and greatest stuff across the board. So the last thing we're going to do is I want to make sure that all of these changes that I've done work in a clean solution. So we are going to shut this down. Let's see, don't need you anymore. Let me grab a PowerShell window here real quick. And yes, I do use transparency on my terminal windows. It's weird. I kind of like it. So we go with it. Okay, so first thing, before doing this command, always check to see if you have pending changes. This next command is going to be highly destructive, so anything you don't save will get lost. So git clean dfx. So D says directories to, F says force, and X says blow away things that aren't under source control. So this will effectively reset your repo to a clean state as though you just did a fresh clone. So, which is great. That's ultimately what we're looking to test, right? Is we want to make sure that this guy here still works in a clean state. Uh-oh. First cup of coffee's down. It's okay. I have Mountain Dew. We're good. We're good. Plenty of caffeine. Okay, so step one, launches. Control-Shift-B, and let's fire this off. I sort of expect the show me the XAML to trigger on the first pass and cause an error that says please rebuild. This is normal on your initial clone. Just be aware. The way the show me the XAML stuff works with packet, because it injects in the middle, it kind of requires a rebuild. And I assume this is hiding down here at the bottom. Let's go down here. Not package manager, build. So claim to have problems with generated asset file, claimed problems with asset file. Let's just rebuild one more time. Control-Shift-B, fire this off. Wait, vey. Bunch of errors that don't make a lot of sense in this context. The MC errors aren't actually compile errors. These are XAML things. It's also important to note where these came from, right? So this one specifically is under 472. Just going to keep going one more time. This is not instilling me with much confidence. What's going on here, guys? What's going on here? So we blew away the packages, which makes sense. Those aren't under source control. Okay, well, let's start figuring out what the heck's going wrong. So when in doubt, always go to the first error, because too often the later errors are just because something went wrong at the beginning. So warning. Let's see, done building project, material design themes. This is the generated CS proj when you compile against .NET Core.
So that makes sense. Some more warnings in here. Done building the one, I'm assuming, against framework. No, netcore. Okay. Done building there. .NET Core. Windows Desktop is required to build desktop application. So this is interesting that this one's squawking. Material design things WPF tests. So this seems like there's an issue with our tests in here somewhere. We'll go and check that in a moment. Okay. Error. Program does not contain a static main method. Oh, didn't we run into this last time too? I think we did. I'm noticing this appears to be in the Ma apps one. So let's start with this. Demos. When in doubt, let's just unload, and then we're going to unload these. Unload projects. Okay, compile. And I believe this works. No. Okay, well, we narrowed it down. So, where did you fall apart? Error source file could not be found. So this is the other problem, is it looks like it's compiling parallel. So which one? Same things, Ma apps. Oh, so this doesn't appear to have the WPF trigger on it. Is it needed? I think it is, isn't it? Let's see. Use WPF. True. So I don't know how we were getting away with this before. Okay. Build. We'll just keep working through these errors. Hey, there we go. Okay, so that's now compiling. Let's reload this project and build it. Okay, that's in a working state. Reload project and build it. That's in a building state. Reload project. Build it. I'd be surprised if that was the only thing there that was a problem. That was it. Okay, so I'm going to just do a full rebuild real quick, make sure this works, and if this is in a good working state, I think I'm going to go through that same process again. Commit all the changes, and then we're going to clean the repo and start from a fresh state. Just want to make sure that this works for everybody. Ooh, something went boom. Material design demo project failed. Do I have some weird dependency tree problem? Why did it build them all individually but then decides to blow up? Okay. WPF is dependent on colors, right? My app is dependent on WPF. Themes, my apps, themes, and colors. Okay. Colors has no dependencies. Colors test only depends on colors. Demo requires colors and WPF. Okay. Well, that's the same one. Ma apps requires colors, themes. Makes sense. WPF requires colors. WPF test requires colors, themes. Okay, so that all makes sense to me. So let's clear this. Build logging. Turn build logging on. Build. Let's figure out where this is blowing up. Let's see. Let's filter if we can. Let's turn off design time builds. Not really interested in looking at those. Status, running. They all finished. Okay. Just making absolutely certain that it finishes. Okay, well, it appears to have finished. Okay, so back to the same thing again. Let's see. Fixing missing property. I think we might go through and do some directory build prop stuff. I'm just pushing in case I botch something on my local repository. I always want to be able to get it back. Wipe the directory clean again. I think we're getting close. For those people who are still wondering about MA apps, I'm just kind of holding. I don't plan on releasing the integration package until MA apps 2.0 drops. And on the note of NuGet packages, it is worth noting the preview NuGet packages. There's an unfortunate problem in that the way the version numbers are being done, it's just dropping the build ID on the end of this -ci on the NuGet package. The problem is we were in the 900s and then we hit 1,000. And when you do string comparisons, 1,000 comes chronologically before 900. And so it's not seen as there being an update. So it's a little unfortunate. You kind of just have to roll back. I don't know of a great way of fixing it without pushing out the 3.1 release. So ultimately, that's going to be the fix, is we'll push 3.1 out the door, and then the problem will go away. At least until we hit 9,999. Not real concerned about that yet. If people have solutions on how to propose the versioning, I thought about zero prefixing it and various things, but all of those problems don't fix the problem until I'm ready to push out the next release. So just kind of holding. Because anything I do, I don't think fixes the current problem of the current release being CI 9 is effectively what NuGet's going to see as the latest. Build succeeded. Okay. I think I am ready to push this. So let's pull request this beast. So if we go here on pull requests, comparing pull request, let's take a quick peek. We're going to make sure that the pipeline actually runs appropriately on this before we get too carried away. Let's see, 3.10. Let's just quickly scan through this. So packet restore targets, load diff. Oh, this is just an update to the packet file. I don't care about that. Packet SHA, don't care. We revved our version of packets. Binary file, both of those got revved, not concerned. Packet.targets, again, that's their file, not ours. I don't care. So we went from 3.0 to 3.1, copyright version revved. 3.1, version rev, 3.1. This was very important. I spent way too much time last week chasing down why it claimed that this wasn't here, only to realize that I had forgotten to change this 0 to a 1. Let's see here. 2020, 3.1, 3.1. Net Core App 3.1. Let's see, Net Core App 3.1. This is all for the NuGet package stuff. Change that guy. We did do some mild updates to the MA app stuff because I noticed that they had changed some of their properties and where they were located. So this controls helper went away and it went to a headered controls helper. So we fixed those, not directly related to this, but it kind of got in my way when we revved all the packages. So we just fixed it. This is the key change here, the global.json. This means that if you load this up, that you are going to be required to have the 3.1 version of the .NET Core SDK installed to compile from source. So once this merges, we will go and update that. This guy has target frameworks of 4.5, 4.7.2, .NET Core App 3.0. I want to double check that real quick because I was thinking about it and I don't think we need, I don't recall what we're targeting. No, we are targeting .NET 4.5. So .NET 4.5 for the library, 4.7.2 for the demo apps because we target latest stuff for those. And then .NET Core App 3.1. Ma apps, I revved them up to the latest preview package. Not a big deal. Show me the XAML. We picked up the latest one as well just to fix the no reference exception that we caused, or that I caused. Got all of those done. So let's see. Moving library to .NET Core 3.1 since it is the LTS version. LTS, long-term support for people who are unfamiliar with it. Create pull request. And then I think what we're going to do is I'm going to go close that one out. See, there was another request where somebody tried to do the same sort of rev, but it didn't include all the packet changes. 1654. Let's see. I think we're just going to leave a comment. Fixed by 1654. Close and comment. Okay. Yeah, because this just had the global.json, and I wanted to make sure we picked up all the other changes on top of it. Okay, so we'll let that guy fix and merge. And then I was trying to decide what to work on tonight. I was somewhat tempted to take a stab at this filter chips, right? Because this looks pretty cool to me. And I'm in the mood to do something creative and fun. Yeah, let's do something creative and fun. So let's go and pick this up. So 1456, right? So first of all, this is the behavior that we're looking to get, right? So there's that usage. Come on, load. There you go. All right. Okay. So I don't know if people can see the animation very well or not, but on here, when you go through and do this, it kind of has this nice slide out, slide in animation. And I think that's all that this is missing here, right? Work in progress only supports light mode at the moment, no fancy animations. Okay. So we are going to take a crack at this, and because I already reviewed it a while back. So we are on pull request 1456. Let's go down here and grab pull request 1456. So yes, go ahead and add that. And yeah, I understand. Your universe just got changed out from under you. Ignore. We're actually going to shut you down for a minute, Visual Studio, because you're just going to get in the way. You're just going to be in my way, Visual Studio. Go away. I think step one is I want to rebase this guy up onto master because he's a little far back. And then we'll go from there because I don't believe there should be any conflicts. It should be a simple rebase. Great. And then I don't have to deal with Visual Studio getting confused about different SDKs. I kind of want this other one to hurry up and build and finish so I can rebase it on top of that too. Uh-oh. Build failed. Why did my build fail? That's not a good sign. Did we not fix everything? Failed with exit code. Well, that's not a good sign. Let's see. Failed with exit code 1. Build failed. What was the actual failure is the question though, right? So .NET Restore failed, which is kind of hysterical given that it doesn't really need to do much. Okay, let's just go and pop open the, well, before we get too carried away. There's that, we're happy. Let's jump back over to our branch. Let's go and take a quick look. I'm guessing there's something in the pipeline.xaml that needs to be updated too, because that's the only thing that we haven't tested yet. Okay, collapse use, solution items, something pipelines. There we go. Close. So, this guy blew up on the .NET restore call. The PowerShell task should have really taken care of almost everything, because I'm unfortunately mixing packet and NuGet in here. Just because I didn't see the point of adding the complexity to the unit test projects. So, I really want to know what the failure is. 7 errors. Error. The target does not support targeting either target .NET Core 3 or lower. Oh, so we just need, our using version of .NET Core, right? That'd be a problem. Yeah, perhaps that maybe. Yeah, that probably will do it. So, stage, let's see, fixing pipeline version of .NET Core. Great. Commit, push. Let's try this one more time. And then this will go, boom. Back to here. Back to here. Push successfully. Should trigger a new build real quick. At least it... Come on. Come on. Show me the checks. I know you want to do checks. There we go. Might just babysit this one for a minute, because I really do want to get this merged in so that we can do our other work on top of this. Let's see here. Go out to Azure Pipelines. Let's just go look at it out here. So it is worth noting, I'm not actually signed in right now. So all of this information that you see me looking at here, everyone should have this access to all of this. So this is the wonderfulness that is Azure DevOps and pipelines. For those people who care, there is going to be a blog post coming out. So let's see. Blog. There, right? And I might check it real quick. I don't think it's published yet. But there is one that's going to be coming out. Yeah, it's not up here yet. There will be one coming out that is all around NuGet packages and how I like to go out and publish them. So that will be hopefully coming soon. It's been done for like a week or so, but they were trying to time it with like the release of some newsletter or something. So coming soon. So if you're interested in how I like to set up my projects with DevOps for releases, I think it's probably a useful thing. It is worth noting, if all you want for your project is a simple do my build, release it to NuGet, GitHub Actions are probably a lot simpler. Where GitHub Actions come up short is when you want to get a little complex with your release pipelines. GitHub Actions are great for really quick and simple things. But for like this project where I want a nightly release, where I want approvals and those types of things to flow through this, that's all built into the Azure DevOps pipelines, and GitHub Actions really aren't designed to do that kind of exterior dependency. They're really designed to work with stuff from your GitHub repo and just act on the repo, right? So if you want like outside approvals and permissions and all that kind of extra jazz that goes along with it, GitHub Actions are probably the wrong tool for the job. You could probably beat it into submission, but use the right tool. It'll save you some trouble. Okay, come on. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Sorry, just checking some messages here. What's the command? Okay, come on, run all our unit tests. The other thing I'd like to do, and it's probably very boring, is go through and address all of these warnings. I would love to turn on warnings as errors in the project. It can be a little obnoxious, but it also having that level of static analysis, because typically when you have a warning, it's something that's probably a bug, or it's probably going to become a bug soon, right? It's at minimum you're probably doing something in a weird way that you should probably switch, or it's something that's probably wrong and you really need to look at it closer. The other thing is turning on nullability, so the C#8 nullable reference types. I kind of want to get the library decorated with those. I've updated a couple libraries now with it, and I think it's worthwhile pursuing. Last week we did a little bit of stuff with AutoMocker, or maybe that was 2 weeks ago. Might have been 2 weeks ago, and updating it and playing around with some of those features. It unfortunately ended with me getting stuck and realizing what I wanted to do wasn't possible, but that is okay. Come on, DevOps, what are you doing? You still thinking? It's probably running the other one. It's worth noting these tools sometimes don't spew their output in a stream mode. They sometimes spew it all at once. Like you'll notice we sat here waiting because it was running 188 tests. So it's nice now that this library actually has some unit tests, right? The test coverage numbers are still pitiful because this is a theming library. But ultimately, it's nice to have some assurances when I make changes that I haven't broken everything. Okay, since this is about to merge, let's go over here and fix the wiki real quick. So let's see, building from source, edit. So netcore 3.1 SDK. We'll be clear. Save page. Right, I do try to keep the wiki page up to date. And I did put this footer on here for people. If you see a mistake or want to contribute to this wiki, everyone has write access. So please feel free to make contributions. I peruse. The wiki itself is another Git repo, right? So if there is a problem or some issue, I can always revert if this privilege gets abused. But so far, I haven't had that problem, and it's been really nice having everyone be able to contribute to it. Be curious to note about this restriction, 16.3. I think that's still accurate because I know we're out at 16.4 right now. Let's see, because what is it? 16.4.4 is what I'm on. But I don't think 16.4 is actually required. I'm pretty sure you can still compile this stuff on 16.3. So unless somebody comes and points out to me that that's not true, I'm going to be assuming that that is true. And it is worth noting, like people ask all the time about, well, why does compiling from source require so much more? And the simple fact is because we're trying to multi-target our NuGet package. So if you want to contribute from source, great. If you don't want to install all of this stuff and you just want to work on a feature or a bug, it is okay to go into these projects and just turn off whichever target framework you don't have installed and do the work that way. Just don't add those CS_proj changes to your pull request. Right? I'm very okay with that. Just leave a comment saying that you didn't test it under the other framework, and I'm still happy to review other people's changes. Look at that. There we go. Perfect. Squash merge. Boom. Let's just make sure that this goes away. This goes away. This is now in. This is now in. Fixed. That's closed. Hey. Didn't I just close it? Come on, GitHub. Update. There we go. Okay, so we can delete that branch. Don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. We'll go in here. While we're having fun with stuff, let's just squash merge this guy. Boom. Boom. More stuff merged. And actually, I'm going to put this guy in the milestone so I can keep track of which ones went in. Great. Okay, so now we're going to go do this. Let's see. So now our master branch has advanced a couple pull requests. Hang on. Expected to see Expected to see that other one. Closed. What did I do? Update Azure icons. Didn't I just merge you? You're all set. There it goes. My fetch was just slow. Okay, great. So we're going to pull down master to get the latest, and then we are going to switch back over to our filter chips branch and rebase it onto master. Great. Okay, so now we're working from latest and greatest stuff. Everyone's happy. Delete branch. Don't need that no more. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so back to where we were going. So what we're looking to do here is, I think, do the animations first. That sounds like the fun part. I think it sounds like the fun part. So let's take a look at where Magnus left off here. So, so we're inside of chips.xaml, and it's based on Listbox item. And I think, let's see, he's got a transition to normal, mouse over, selection states, to selected, right? Like there's already the stuff that we need. Yeah, so basically we want to go into listboxitem.xaml and start there. Let's first just make sure that we can run the demo with it. Set my startup project, please, and let's fire you up. I assume everything in it is in and working just fine, but would just like to confirm that before we get off to the races, and then I realize that I broke something. So I'm going to come down here and just start while it's recompiling, since we changed everything out on it. Okay, so something about the chips, and we can do this, which is great. Yeah, I think all I want is a nice little animation of this guy sliding in and out, very similar to what we've got here. So just trying to look at this real quick. So it's really just slide in, slide out. Yeah. So it almost seems like I'm just going to animate the width of whatever that little thing is right there. And make it go, right? Because there was a request out on the Gitter chat as well to effectively make these things collapse and expand. So we'll see. We might get carried away. Okay, so close you. We need the Listbox stuff. So themes. Little bigger, little bigger. I need to see what I'm doing. Listbox. Toggle Listbox item. That wasn't it. Listbox item, Listbox item. I should have just cards Listbox item. Here, it's gonna bother me seeing the trailing white space in the XAML. Hate seeing trailing white space. Boom, clean those up. Okay, a little more white space, a little more white space. Just gotta clean that up. Chip Listbox item. Here we are. Okay, so let's figure out what we're looking at. So it's on. Visual Studio is a little unhappy about the fact that it wants you to specify a column getter for non-first items, which is not. It's not a horrible idea. It's redundant because this will default to 0, but it likes you to be explicit if you're doing it, because it is a potential for failure, right? Like if you don't do it, it then is a bit ambiguous about, did you mean to leave it off and have it default to 0, or did you mess something up, right? So it's one of those, it just wants you to be explicit. Okay, so all that looks good, all that looks good, all that looks good. Okay, so ultimately what we got is this guy right here. This trigger property is selected. So when this thing becomes selected, the icon control becomes visible, and the text block margin slides to the side. Right, so this adds, wait, I'm confused. Left top right. The right margin. Wait. Okay, I need to look at what this text block element is, right? So there's our pack icon. We can self-close him. Don't need to be fancy with it. Where is our text block? More importantly, what thing in here? Oh. Kind of want to rename this. Rather than text block, looks like that's the only. How about Listbox item? I feel like there's a template part for this, isn't there? Let's look. I feel like there's a template part for this, where it's supposed to be called like. So by template part in WPF, there's this idea of controls can declare which pieces of their template are required versus optional. Usually the required template options will be called something like all caps part underscore is typically how they lead with. Default property, content property. So there isn't really something there, but I think I still want to rename this guy from like text block content. I'm a little surprised at this trigger, right? Like that. That surprises me that we add margin to the right when it's selected. Oh, I see. It's not adding margin to the right. It's taking it off. Right? So this guy is 12.0, 12.0. When it's selected, it then goes through and drops this. Because I'm guessing the icon control must have a little bit. Yeah, so that's what's happening. Okay, so let's start by moving some of these things off to visual states, right? So selected visual state storyboard. So we're going to do, what is it? Object animation using keyframes. And I kind of want to look at, I thought we had other ones in here. Oh, more white space to clean up. More white space to clean up. Always leave the code cleaner than you found it. Double animation, double animation. You know, we don't actually need to hide it. I'm realizing a zero width will work just as well as turning it invisible. And it's not like it's a tab stop at all. I'm wondering if that's a cleaner approach to this. I'm wondering if that is a cleaner approach. Because the other drawback is this margin, right? Because this margin exists here, if all I do is zero out the width, this guy is not going to be quite the same. Let's start with that though, right? Let's lead into that. So let's see how that goes. Maybe we should do it as a scale transform instead. Yeah, I kind of like that. Let's do it as a scale transform. Okay, so we're going to go through and expand. So expand empty tag. And now normally when you do animations, you want to do render transforms. The problem with render transforms is that they only affect the rendered size, not the layout size. And in this case, we actually care about the layout size, right? Because we are effectively changing how much space we're going to need. So let's see. Pack icon. So we're going to do a layout transform instead. And how about a scale transform? We'll give it a name. How about icon? Scale transform. I think these just default to 1 by default, right? So I think if we do this, and we don't do this, right? I kind of want to make this icon kind configurable. I have a sinking suspicion the moment I release this, somebody's going to want to change it. Okay, so we'll lead with that for the moment. So we're going to, I think I just want to comment out this trigger for the moment. Okay, so on selected, we are going to change the scale icon transform, and it's less about this, right? Because we are going to, let's see, boom, this is going to be scale X. On selected, we're going to go to 1. We're going to do the opposite on visual state. Unselected, I think we do the opposite on. Selected unfocused. I think this is probably the same case because I think we're blocking focus on it. So go to 0 on that, right? And that should scale that in and out. And then let's do up here. So I don't know if it's worth, I don't know why this is using keyframes. This doesn't seem like it needs it. So go to 1 there, duration. Let's take duration off for the moment. Well, we should probably be explicit, right? So 0:0:0.3 I think is fairly common. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's usually about what most things are. So we're going to go there. So on from any state to selected, we go there. From any state to unselected, we do 0, and from selected to unselected, we're also going to go to 0. And I think we're going to just clean up these other durations so that they properly switch, right? Select a background border. Not sure I need to change these durations. I think having those be at 0 is probably acceptable. Visual state selected. I think that's probably close. Save. Yeah. I was going to be surprised. I was hoping the edit and continue would pick it up, but that was probably a lot for it to grok. Yeah, something like this. Because if we can get these nice animations in place, I think this will set it up nicely. Let's see, chips. So something's wrong there. Right? So, step 1, we noticed our initial state was wrong, so that's just bad. So let's see. Scale X is going to be 0, right? Not a shock there. So that was the first bug we had. Now something about this guy's state, right? So I'm wondering if it's unselected that needs to actually be thought out a little more. Expand empty tag, because I'm thinking both of these states need to effectively do the exact same thing. Let's just check. I want to see what this thing does. So the background. Yeah, so selected and unselected has no bearing on the, or I should say whether it's unselected or not has no bearing. So unselected in this case based upon the Listbox selection state, right? So I think we do that. Let's see. This goes to 0. Selected to unselected goes to 0. Yeah, and let's relaunch. I think we're going to have to play with those margins a little bit, because I think that was exactly why he had that trigger around the margin, but I think we can fix it in here. I'm kind of hoping we can find a reasonable setup with the icons margin so that we don't have to worry about it. Because I'm thinking if we just use a scale transform on the content, that'll probably fix it. Well, we fixed part of it. So something's off. Okay, so let's focus just on the scale transform, right? We're going to selected, the scale should be 1. We're going to selected unfocused. Ah, this is selected. This should also be a 1. We're going to unselected. This should be a 0. Yeah, I'm wondering if this really matters, right? Thinking this should probably be like this, which I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm fairly confident you can do this. All right, so we can do that, do that. I think what we need, so I think part of the issue here is we've got a disjoint. And that needs to look like that. And we could probably do a little refactoring and pull some of these storyboards around. Not sure if I actually want to yet or not. We'll see how this goes. Okay, let's see if that works. So unselected 0, unselected 0. Oh, I'm finding more bugs. Selected, this goes to a 1. Right. We've got a missing visual state down here. Right, selected unfocused. Let's see here. So selected. Boom. Okay, let's try that. Let's try that. I think that'll get us a lot closer. And then we'll have some nice fancy animated chips. Yay! Hey, look at that. I'm not sure if, because you can see the icon get bigger and smaller in there, right? I might even propose speeding it up a little, but let's look. Yeah, because theirs actually looks to slide off and slide in rather than expand. And that's all because we're doing this. So, scale transform, there's a, rather than a scale transform, there is a TranslateTransform. Which probably works, right? I'm wondering if this works better. Not sure if it does though, right? Because it would push it to the side, but I needed to push behind. Because the width is going to have the same problem as the scale transform if I just push it over. Well, let's try it. Transform. X key. So let's do this. So transform group, so that we can have more than one in here. Boom. Right. Icon. TranslateTransform. What are you squawking about? Oh. You need a name, not a key, and I can't spell the word translate. Okay. Oh, fine. Stop debugging. All right. So ultimately, we want to toggle between the width and not the width. So I am sort of curious if we go through and do this and just do x gets minus 16, and ultimately we're going to go from minus 16 to 0, right? What is oh, translate. So minus 16 is the off. Let's see here. Turn you off for the moment, and then we're going to just hunt all usages. Copy. Boom. So this is going to be icon translate transform X. This is a selected, so it's going to go, and this is going to look weird, right? Because we're going to go from negative 16 to 0, effectively bringing it across. Because 0 will be sit where you start. Okay, so put that there. That goes there. That goes like that. Let's see, unselected. So this is going to take us to the negative 16 case. And we'll ultimately end up, we'll fix the hard-coded values. I just kind of want to see how this is going to look first before I go through and refactor it. We'll clean it up in a minute. So we'll do that. Okay, so back into the selected case, which takes us to 0, which is great. Duration needs to go to 0, because now we're in the visual states, not the state transitions. So these are how the object's going to be held when it reaches the state. So we do nope, 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 nope. That. That looks good. There, this is now going to switch to the minus 16 case. Comment that out. Boom. And this goes to the also the minus 16 case. Okay, let's look at how that looks. We'll see if that looks any better. I think we also still have some background stuff to play with, but no, Mountain Dew's gone. Might have to go fix that. Okay. Let's see, where was I? Chips, chips, chips. That's not a good sign. Selected 0, unselected, back. Let's just do this in Snoop real quick. Let's see. Snoop. Let's pop this guy open and let's just take a quick look. Okay, so when you fire up Snoop, first thing you do is you use the crosshairs to target the app that you want. Put your mouse over the thing you're looking for and hold down Control and Shift. And it will zero in on your object. So let's see, icon control. Let's see, it's going to be under the layout transform. And then the layout transform group has a set of children. Should only have one item. There should be an index or property in here somewhere. Transform collection. Where is it? That guy. Boom. Okay, and then you should have an X property on here. Ooh. That is interesting. That is interesting. Sorry, I just want to watch this animation again. Pushes in, slides across. Maybe I'm approaching this from the wrong angle. I'm wondering if perhaps because right now we've been going through and animating the check portion of this, and I'm wondering if animating the content back over it might be cleaner. The drawback being that right now this content is arbitrary, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the background of it's going to be opaque, which is an interesting problem to deal with, right? Because I don't necessarily know the correct way to handle that. I am interested in why this translate seems to have trouble with the X value going to negative, right? Why would that cause a problem? Why would you effectively move that over? Oh, you know what? Here's another thought. Here's a thought, right? So you've got all of these things. I believe, isn't there there is a thickness animation. Ah ha ha. That gives me an idea. That gives me an idea. Right, because part of what we were doing was manipulating these margins, and both the margin and the padding properties are both thickness objects. I'm wondering about just manipulating this, because that would allow us to effectively tweak this, right? So, clip to bounds, true, because I want to clip it. And then what happens if I do, so, minus 16, 0, 0, 0, right? What happens if we do that? So let's go down here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment out all of these animations for the moment, because I think what I want to do is just manipulate the object directly in Snoop and then verify my to and from, and once I have that, then I'll go and put the animation in to toggle it. That way I'm not doing 8 of these things every time I want to make a tweak. So that'll probably speed this up a little bit. So Control KC. Okay, so let's fire that up. Snoop, you can wait for a minute. I need you, but not right now. Let's see here. Yeah, because what bothers me is this animation here is very much, the check just slides behind, right? It goes right out of that content. It doesn't shrink in size, it just slides. Okay, that's what we're shooting for. That's our gold standard. Okay, so that is, well, unfortunately correct-ish. But you did not get clipped. So I think that. And let's actually play with Snoop. Snoop, Snoop, Snoop. Oh, I've got multiple instances of Snoop going. That's what's confusing me. Okay. So that guy, let's dive into this thing and take a look at him. So if we go up to here, something about clip to bounds, clip it. Okay, so that will clip that guy. And then if we come down to the icon control, let's play with the margin. Right, so if this guy goes to 0, that is intriguing. And then more importantly, this guy was being set to something akin to this, right? To give him some added space around there. I like that. So you come off. You come off. A little confused as to why this thing appears to have gotten smaller, but deal with that in a minute, because his, what is it, vertical? Vertical alignment center. Push you down into the middle there, right? That looks better, so let's change that up. Right, make sure you line up in the middle. Vertical alignment center. Put you right where I want you. And then, okay, so if that's going to go there. Okay, so then we get rid of all the layout transform stuff, right? That all goes away. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to, well, let's see here, right? So this looks way too big, all right? I don't think we need the right margin there. Right? In fact, I'm not even sure we need more than, well, we need a little on that side. So back to my gold standard. No, it's still very much inset. It's not much. It's not much at all. Half it. That's probably better. Content. So what is separating you? You've got a big margin there, right? Specifically on the left, that's being set to 12. You need some, but not that much. Let's see here, because the separation between these guys is a little more than what's there, it looks like. So if that's 4, I'm going to go with like a 6. It's probably closer. All right, and that slides in. Because then this guy's going to go from 4 to -16. About -12. Leave that 4 on the edge. No, I think it needs to go to -16 with 4 on the right. Right? Something like that. That way it can slide in. And if I put the 4 here, right, that means, actually I don't even need the 6 here anymore, right? This goes away, right? And so then this guy then, if this guy's going to have 4 on the right and go to -16, I then take that 6 and put it as 10, which isn't quite centered up in here, which is bothering me a little bit. Probably because this is a 12 and I want it as a 10, right? Because those go basically right to where that corner starts. Let's look. Yeah, because the end of this R in dryer is pretty much underneath where this, it's slightly taken inside the circle. I think I like that. So that's going to go 10. Okay, well, let's start plugging this in. Let's start plugging this guy in. Okay, so thickness animation. Boom. And yeah, bunch of stuff. Copy, 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 copy. Copy pasta. So not that, not that. Storyboard target name. So we are going to go with the icon control. Boom. That guy goes like that. And I think what we said is this guy is going to become a 0 and a 10. Alright, so that guy goes like that. Target property. Margin. And we want to go to, not 0. So this is selected. So that's the case that we're in now, right? No, unselected is 0, 0, 0, 10, 0. So I'm going to just leave a comment for myself. Uh, 0, 0, 10, 0. So, and I believe this guy then goes to, nope, not that one. This guy here. That's right. So hidden is this. Right? Not enough. So that's off. And then on goes to, I believe, 4. That feels a little much. Yeah, that's a little much. I think 4, 4. We're going to do that at 4, 4. I think that's where we're going. So this becomes 4s across the board. That goes like that. Self-close that beast. What did I do? Thickness. Just want that. Okay. Copy. So we're going to get rid of these. Don't think we need them anymore. Same deal there. Right. Selected, selected, then unselected. So this is now where we need our other value. So this guy here. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Down here. Unselected. So you become that. Clean you up. Clean that up. Okay, that goes like that. That goes down there. Both of these. Because for now we're calling both the... hold on, I just jumped. Visual transition. Selected, unfocused. Oh, that's a bug. We've got duplicate. I botched that. Selected, selected, unfocused. So selected, unfocused. I botched that. Selected, selected, unfocused, unselected. Interesting. I might check those visual states here in a minute, but we're going to carry on our merry way. So this is going to be selected. So this is going to be the same thing here. Down here, this is going to become a duration of 0, though. So we'll grab that. I'm going to do the same thing here. Duration is 0. This guy here is almost the same, except for we want to change this out for our other values. So multi-ring clipboard, that one please. Okay, let's give that a shot. See where that lands us. Oh, wrong window. There we are. Okay, so chips. That looks much better. Look at that. Look at that. Almost like we planned it. That background color is bothering me a little bit, because it clearly means we've got some opacity problem there, but that looks much nicer. I like it. I like it. It almost looks like the picture. Boom. Take it. It seems like we might be a little big on the margins top and bottom here, but I'm a little less concerned about that at the moment. Okay, so let's deal with that background color. So we've got this weird case, right? So it's worth noting that we actually have one more state that their demos aren't going to have, because we actually have a cursor. And this is very touch heavy. But on selected, it definitely goes to its darker background, and it holds that even when you move off. I am wondering if we may want something additional for mouse over. Maybe. But let's go back down here. So these storyboards here, selected background border. I don't know if I necessarily, well, they're already set. I'm not going to change them. Let's see, common states, normal, mouse over. Yeah, so there's some stuff here, and we might want to even consider the disabled state of these and what that should look like. But let's come back to this. So what do we got working on? Mouse over border, selected background border. And both of these start with their opacities at 0, and they basically have the same, though I'd like to get these things to use theme brushes. That's probably what Magnus meant when he said he didn't handle dark theme yet. We'll get those into theme brushes in just a second. So let's see here. Mouse over selected. Something about the Z order seems backwards to me. I almost want my mouse over to be on top of my selected, right? That way if my mouse hovers over, regardless, we'll come back to this. This is what's being targeted, right, on all of these. Yeah, selected item background border. So unselected, it goes backwards to 0. Right? Selected, oh wait, hold on. Unselected, it goes to 1. Oh, so this is probably the bug right here. Right? So unselected, it should go to 0. Selected, unfocused, it can go to 1. Selected, it goes to 1. Unselected, it goes to 0. Yeah, I'm just not sure why we're mixing double animations and the keyframe ones. So I'm gonna just bring these forward, and we'll just simplify this up a little bit. I don't think we need this to be overly fancy. All right, so 1 duration. I think I want this. I think I want a duration on these. Like, let's look. Let's look. Is there a duration on that background color change, or is it just straight up? There's a very small duration. Let's put a duration on there, right? So that's going to go like that. This is going to go like that. And then this one becomes the exact same as this one. So we just override that. Poof. Okay, so these are our selection states. Yeah, because I'm thinking that I probably want my mouse over effect to occur regardless. Maybe. So let's see here. Let's go chips. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm almost wondering if the timing's a little slow. Feels a little bit slower than... Yeah, that feels a lot quicker. Let's speed it up a little, right? So let's go down to a 1. 1. Oh, I guess I gotta change all of these, not just one of them. Right? So that one, that one, that one. Let's see if that looks a little better, because that, I think we're getting pretty close. This, at least animation-wise, this looks a lot closer to what we were shooting for. Okay, so chips. May have gone too far the other way. Okay, split the difference. Let's go down to 0.2 and... Ooh, snack bar message queue, pump async. Interesting. Not what I'm here to fix at the moment. Okay, let's swap all these to 0.2 of a second, see if we get a little bit better feel. This is one of those areas where it would be nice. I question whether it's nice to have configurability for people. It's just not always the easiest thing to do. I've contemplated going through and just writing sort of a helper class for a lot of these that sort of gives a generic API for mucking with durations. Because I've seen occasionally where people want to tweak these just slightly for different controls. And there. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so we're in a working state. Let's start with this. Stage all changes. Got animations working. Boom. Okay, so let's see about dealing with theming changes, right? So if we fire this guy up and go into dark mode, I suspect, given that we've got hard-coded values, this is probably not going to look that great, right? So, color tool, flip into dark mode, and then chips, right? Yeah. That is interesting. Yeah, we definitely don't want this. So let's go and look at light. Light base theme. I thought there was a nice class I could go and look at. Well, this will probably get me close, right? So in light mode, it's using C4. Does that line up with any of our convenient brushes that we're using? Let's see here. I've got like a DE. I'm wondering if it's better to just do a opacity over the top. Right? Like take the foreground and apply it that way. Let's take a quick look. What is the selection states on some of these other ones? Look at. So selected border. This guy just goes to 0.8. Not that I necessarily want to use this as a perfect guideline, because this guy has had plenty of problems. Where is selected border? Oh, it's down below. Yeah, so this is sort of what I was thinking. I both like it and hate it all at the same time. So this works really well because it can derive its color that it wants from the foreground. But unfortunately, it then tightly couples it to the foreground. The nice part about this is it easily changes it with the theme. So as you go to dark to light, it just works, which is nice. It's really convenient. But I have run into cases where people want to change the selection color, and we don't offer a lot of control over that. So I'm kind of hesitant to go down that path, knowing that we've run into this problem before. A quote-unquote problem, right? I mean, it's an area of extensibility that I know other people want, so I'm thinking I don't build into that same problem. But it does beg the question, though, what color should this be? So let's start with this. Do we have any sort of... So the chip is our class, right? So we could get fancy with some of this stuff. Icon foreground. Just wondering if there's an easy way of going about doing this. I was contemplating reusing some of this stuff, but I'm not sure if that's a great option. Listbox assist. What do we got on here? Is toggle, which is great. It doesn't really drive home at the theming idea of this. Let's see. So if that's not going to play nice there, let's look. What else we were doing? The mouse over effect with the background was going D8 instead of C4. Flat button click. D8 instead of C4. I'm a little hesitant to add more purpose-built brushes too. I mean, we can, right? But we're quickly running into that case where it's similar to what my apps ran into, is they started brushifying everything and they needed to move stuff into specialized namespaces, which caused a significant breakage. I'm a little hesitant to do that. I don't mind starting to move new stuff that direction, but I'm not sure this warrants it right now. I think, as much as I said I didn't like it, I think in the interest of MVP and actually shipping this thing out the door, all right, we might just go this route. Might just go this route initially, because this is the easiest option that gets it working. So there's that. There's that. And I am curious to look at this, right? Because this was mouse over is behind selection. But the selection was only going... Yeah, so they change up what it is. So what does this brush round converter do? Got it. So it does a conversion to grayscale basically, and then does a check to see if it's light or dark, and then flips on either white or black, right? So this is either going to be a white brush or a black brush, depending on that. and then change the opacity into down, right? And then change the opacity to 0.8 or not, based upon whether it's selected. So I think I like that. So keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. So that changes these guys, right? So this is the chip one. Yeah, chip Listbox item. So this guy, rather than becoming a 1, goes to 0.8. 0 is fine. 1 becomes 0.8. Right, so that goes like that. 0 is fine there. Let's see how that looks. Is mouse over actually being used? So mouse over isn't actually being used. Don't know how I feel about that. We should probably either whack the control or put something on it. Mouse over is doing something. Oh, look at that. It is working. How do it know? How do it know? Mouse over color. Oh, it's probably in here, right? Mouse over border. So it's adding it in. Okay, look at that. It's already done. Awesome. Great. Great, 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 great. We're going to turn this. Oh, and it looks like is enabled is actually being handled for us too. So we'll confirm that in a moment. Okay, so there's those. Let's go change and flip into dark mode and go back. Chips. Yeah. I could get on board with that, at least for an initial MVP. Yeah. We now have filter chips where you can get the selection on it, right? Woot, woot, woot. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, I was going to check disabling one of those. Let's see here. That is on the chips page. Boom. Let's just turn one of those guys. Those people familiar with the joke, we'll do Pluto. It's enabled false. Hopefully somebody gets the subtle humor in that. It may not be that subtle, but we're going with it. Okay. Come on. Go, go. Oh. You just opened on the wrong thing. Okay, so chips, 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 chips. Good. Disabled, checked, unchecked. And actually, let's start one of these as is selected true, right? I want people to be able to immediately see the purpose of these when they hit this page. That you can turn these guys on and off at will, and then you've got an easy, yeah. And I think if we do, let's see, list box assist is toggle true, right? If we turn that on, let's relaunch. I think this all just works. I think. I don't know if the edit and continue will play nice with it, given that this guy has to wire up for events and whatnot, but I think it'll just, nope. So how do you work then? Set is toggle, blah, 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 blah. Right? So let's grab this. Right? So if I go click, hit test, Listbox, take a while, finds a ripple. It's not going to find a ripple. So run to here. Right? Listbox item. So we're not going to hit that. Set current property. So Listbox item is selected, is initialized, is selected false. Boom. Right? Set current value. Interesting. So how does this thing turn off the other ones? Mouse down, timestamp. Oh. I gotcha. So it's not, no, it's not the is selection stuff that matters, right? It's the selection mode. So if you go selection mode, single, I think is the kicker, right? Of whether you want to allow people to select multiple things or one thing. Now I think that works the way I expect. I think we probably just default it to multi-selection. Turn you off. There we go. So I'm guessing this style that we've got in here probably defaults to selection mode multiple. Yeah, which is fine. That's perfectly acceptable. I accept. If you don't like it, you can turn it back down to single. But I suspect if you're using the style, multi-selection is probably what you're going for anyway, so great. Let's see here. Oh, that name's not used. Clean that up. NEIGH. Sorry, I'm going to fix that. American spelling. Great. That all works. Let's just clean this up while we're in here. Base class qualifier. Okay, anything else we want to clean up in here while we're... Always try to leave the code in a cleaner state than when I found it. Just going to scan through this file. I've been trying to keep it somewhat limited in my changes. So Magnus, if you're watching this, great job. I definitely appreciate all of the help. Yeah, I think we're good. So let's see. Handling theming. Handling theming. Boom. And let's just push, right? And this is going to require a forced push because we rebased, so we've effectively changed up all of these guys. But once again, okay, Snoop, get out of the way. Come back over here, we'll let the build run, and then this guy should update. Vroom. Lots of changes, and we can edit this title. This is no longer work in progress. This is what I would call is done. So we're going to go with enhancement. Let's see. I did, for people who care, I did add this new label here for visual breaking change. So if you are interested on a release to see which things I know are going to cause visually a breaking change, I put this tag, and I'm going to try and be diligent about actually tagging things. That way there is a nice, easy way to go through and do this. Okay, let's see. What else is in the 3.0 milestone? Let's see. That toggling light dark has no... trying to decide if this is still a bug or not. Because I think, well, we might just code this guy up, right? He may have left us some nice code. Let's just download this guy. All right, we might look at this one really quick. So there's been a couple changes since this guy was, or since this bug was opened, right? The first of which is we have the nice dark mode dialog support, right? Because initially when this was done, dark mode dialogues weren't a thing. And now they are a thing. Just open. And more importantly, we've got a feature that allows the dialogues to inherit their themes. And I think that might, I want to check. I have a hunch it might actually fix the stuff. But we will rev the project. I think all I have to do is, come on, go ahead and launch. I think all I have to do is rev the project up to the latest material design in XAML, and we'll see what the fallout is. Okay, so this will be a quick lesson in updating from whatever version this is targeting. Let's see, probably 2 something. Yeah, 2.2. So we are going to rev this guy up to latest and greatest as of a few minutes ago. So let's see, material design themes, grab me the latest. And more importantly, I actually want to come down here and grab this one. So not the 981, but the actual 1000 something or another. So like I said, I do apologize, but I don't see an easy fix for this version, right? Next version we can make changes and clean it up. But I don't see an option for this. Oh, wait, what? Didn't I tell you to grab a different one? Refresh. What version did you rev up into? Oh, so... Oh, I see. It did rev. I'm just looking at the wrong one. Okay, so there's that. There's that. Everyone's happy. Let's check our app.xaml. This all technically works, but I want to change this over to the new theming stuff. So if we look at here, if we go to our demo app, there's a nice example inside of this of all the stuff that you need to do. So in general, you can get away with most of your theming using this. Right? So there's a nice built-in theming one that you can leverage. So you still need the default, right? But this guy should be able to replace most of it. So he was using the light theme. That's now handled. So that goes away. Oh, apparently I missed my closing. Let's see what color we got down here. We got Ignigo for primary. So Indigo there. Secondary color of red. Boom, boom, boom. That. And I'm guessing there is something in a code behind that's going to be changing these. So palette helper largely got obsoleted, right? So you can get theme, var theme, right? And you don't necessarily even need this stuff. Let's see. Solid color brush. What they should be on, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I see. This is just trying to get the new one. Some of this might get a lot simpler here in a moment. Oh, I'm realizing this has a set base theme. It might be nice to be able to get the base theme. Kind of hard to tell, right? Because in theory, people can use custom themes, and so how do you tell if it's light or dark? Yeah. We'll leave that for the moment. Primary toggle. Let's see. I'm actually not really interested in setting these. I'm really just interested in the light dark toggle for now. Really not interested in dealing with these ones for the moment, right? So this is just toggling colors. And I'm most interested in this. So let's grab here. Boom, boom, boom. Like that. Let's see. So theme, set theme. And I think what we're going to just do is take this bool, which I think was setting is dark, so on true it should be base theme dark, else base theme light. Is that how that worked? I'm trying to remember. What is okay, I might have to go back to the docs. Let's see here. So if we go looking at the wiki, sweet, this thing finished. Squash merge, boom, in and done. One more bites the dust. Okay, so if we go to the wiki and go down to advanced theming, there is samples in here for how to go through and do the various themes. So what I'm looking for is this, theme.light and theme.dark. How, basically, I need to stop typing so much. Boom, done, all right? So that's the new way of doing it. This changes the theme object, right? So it's worth noting on these theme objects, you can go through and customize out all the stuff to your heart's desire, right? But the key part then is you have to call palette helper set at the end. All right, so let's just save this instance. Helper gets boom, boom, and helper, and then helper set theme. Pass in our new theme object that we just finished mutating, and it deals with doing all the resource dictionary updates and propagation and all that jazz for us. Okay, so let's see what this thing looks like. So open color switch dialog, toggle light dark. Okay, so there's that. I think if we go back to main window, let's see, so dialog theme inherit, and I think we run. Right? I probably should have changed that on the 3.0 release to make that the default. Yeah. So this is largely fixed, right? The breaking change would be to switch it and make this the default value of dialog theme. So let's leave some comments and then we can close this issue. Let's see, this is done, this is done. That's done, that's done. Okay, so this has actually been fixed in the latest versions. Boom, boom, boom. The changes needed to do it. So, 1, change the dialog theme, or I should say dialog host dot dialog theme property to inherit.
dialog picks up the theme of the app. Boom, boom. And then let's see, what else do we do? This is the wrong Visual Studio. This guy here. Let's see, change this. Copy. And let's go here, let's go here. Use the new theming API to change from change. Right? Okay. And then example of what I did in your app. I should probably be more explicit in the latest 3.1.0. Right? Let's be clear about which version I tested in. And then this thing here, I want to give a link to the wiki so that advanced theming, so that other people can find this if they need to. Boom. Close and comment. Poof, one more thing done from the 3.0 milestone. We are cruising. Okay, so filled combo box is missing. I thought I saw a pull request for this. Maybe I need to go and look. Yeah, filled combo box. Which of these are in the 3.1.0? What was still outstanding with this one? Right, so this I updated with it, but there was a small issue with the background color because it used a transparent brush. That's right. So I did look it up. It's a pretty simple algorithm to convert a brush with an alpha key into an equivalent RGB value, which I believe is what we need here. So I think the ultimate fix for this is going to be a value converter that changes the transparent brush into a opaque brush and modifies the RGB value accordingly. Right, so let's see, where is this guy? Trigger, pop-up, border brush, underline, these guys here, right? So this is ultimately what's biting us, is these things have transparency on them, and we need to strip that out. So I'm sort of imagining a binding with a value converter, where that goes through and updates. Obviously a binding can't have its source as a dynamic resource, so the dynamic resource is going to need to get set on either like the tag property or an attached property, and then the binding will have to point at that, so we'll have to kind of daisy chain it across. And I think that will address this and let this one merge. What else is in? What else is in here? Transparency. When pop-up is open, yeah, this combo boxes have been a pain in the butt this whole time, right? I suspect part of the issue here is so the classic mode one, there is a margin around the pop-up, which I assume is what's causing this to go up here. Because this is specifically around the edge of the screen, and pop-ups are forced onto the screen, but we add a margin to it, and I don't think the placement callback takes that margin into account, which I think is the source of this bug. Which it makes sense.
I think the placement callback just needs to take the margin into effect. Honestly, I'd really love to rewrite combo boxes. This little hole thing that we did in the pop-up to let it look through to the control underneath has caused a huge number of bugs and whatnot. I would rather put a, rather than showing through into the text box down below, I'd rather just put a text box in the pop-up. That way we don't have to worry about subpixel rendering and getting the little lines showing through. And if the placement isn't perfectly right, then at least it still looks normal to the end user and they don't see the bug. So at some point I may get highly motivated and clear that out. This one I need to go back to and re-review. This one is an interesting one. Yeah, because this guy put a very good write-up on it. And ultimately I just need to go back and look at this, especially since he was able to track down exactly where the problem was. It would be good to get this evaluated and put in. Basically, I suspect what's happening is on remote desktop, Windows tends to turn off a lot of the windowing features. And I'm guessing inside of our dialog, again, guessing. I'm guessing inside of our dialog host we're making assumptions about the order and the count that these events are going to get raised, and that may not always be true if the windowing events aren't flowing correctly or turned off, right? I suspect you can get a similar behavior. You can go through and turn off most of the graphics animation stuff inside of normal desktop and get yourself pretty close to this and sometimes replicate remote desktop bugs. Don't know if that would do it here, but it appears he's already done the debugging for us, which is awesome. So thank you very much, Aubrey, I think, maybe. So yeah, so I think that's where we're going. I'd like to evaluate the rest of these things, and fonts are various sizes all over the place. Oh yeah, this is probably something I broke. And a lot of these, if somebody just wants to evaluate what broke and why, that'd be great. I do appreciate all of the help. I know people have been doing an amazing job coming in and fixing it, because I think I'm not likely to pull too many more things into the 3.0 or the 3.1 release. I think I want to just get this thing stabilized and kicked out the door. No point in making it wait. This guy here I wanted to take a look at. Yeah, I might just need to clean some of this up, because I'm guessing this was done before a lot of the refactors, which I don't think it'll be that big of a deal to merge. Yeah, it's probably not that big of a deal to bring this in. So get some of those cleaned up and get that kicked through. So with that, I think I'm probably going to sign off for the night. I've got a bunch of stuff I need to do and things to catch up on. So I will say happy coding, and I'll see everyone next week. Thanks.